this season is extremely, extremely important, obviously for everybody, but particularly these 15 players across Europe, because for various reasons, as we'll get on to, if their season is good, it will have very big consequences for their future at their clubs and their careers and how it goes. But if it goes wrong, then, well, potentially they might be sold by their club, potentially they might not get a big move which people are expecting, or their career just simply isn't going to go the way it was going to. So I'll explain all of them in this video. Of course, if you have any players you think have make or break seasons where they must perform this season, let me know in the comments below, and maybe at the end of the video I'll decide out of the 15 who is the player who has the most important season in terms of their career this year. As always, make sure to subscribe. We are very, very close to 3,000 subscribers, trying to hit it before the start of the Premier League season. So if you could help us out, that'd be really, really nice. You know, it'll be a perfect way to open up the season. And as a Chelsea fan, I probably won't have too many good moments this season. So that would be a nice one if we could hit it. Anyways, let's begin. So we start with number 1. Mason Mount's first 12 months at Man United were a massive disappointment, albeit not all that surprising. Chelsea would have never sold him to a direct rival if they didn't believe he had already reached his ceilings, and regular injuries were also a theme of his final year at Stamford Bridge. The Red Devils plummeted to their worst ever finish, and not even the joy of a unlikely run to FA Cup glory could paper over the cracks. Mount was made one of the scapegoats as he finished the campaign with just 2 goal contributions in 20 appearances. But he was not directly to blame for the disaster, as rotten luck led to Mount being reduced to little more than a spectator. At his peak, Mount was undoubtedly one of Chelsea's best players. He was vital to their Champions League success in 2020-21 and racked up 29 goal involvements the following season. No one could have predicted how far Mount would fall in the space of 2 short years, but Ten Hag is ultimately spot on with his assessment. It is too early to judge him, and he is versatile enough to be an asset for United in the upcoming season. Now the 25-year-old is back in top physical condition, and he will get another chance. It will just be a question of whether Mount can prove he does fit into a team that still doesn't seem to require his services, and also if he can actually stay fit for the entire season. And if he has another underwhelming season, I wouldn't be surprised if his United career is over. Number 2. Renato Sanches. Will Sanches ever deliver on his potential? Probably not. Once the star of European football, Renato Sanches seemingly has had 5 different careers, and he's only 26. He emerged as this wonder kid starring for Portugal at the Euros, joining Bayern Munich, with many thinking he was going to be the best midfielder in the world, before becoming a failed wonder kid after flopping at Bayern Munich and Swansea. He then revived his career at Lille and earned a move to PSG before flopping yet again, and now after a dismal loan at Roma last season, where he played just 262 minutes, he's a failed wonder kid yet again. However, this season marks a pivotal moment in his career, as he is set to return to where it all started, Benfica, on a loan with an option to buy. This is the last roll of the dice for Sanches, going back to Portugal, going back to a club he loves and a place he is comfortable with, to try and get his career back on track. If this move to Benfica fails, still have time to make one last major move and prove to everyone that in the end he would fulfill his potential. It is a big, big season ahead for Renato Sanches. Number 3, Romelu Lukaku. This is really it for Lukaku. After a horrid last few years for both club and country, this is the last chance for Lukaku at one of Europe's biggest clubs. He has been loaned out the last 2 seasons from Chelsea to Serie A clubs Inter and Roma, and while he wasn't bad, he was nowhere near his peak at either club, and both clubs decided not to sign him permanently. Of course, he has no future at Chelsea and is likely going to join Napoli or another club this summer. At the time of recording, nothing has been confirmed, but I expect it will be. If it is Napoli, then, well, this really is it. A reunion with old boss Antonio Conte, who managed him at Inter, and where he scored 24 goals under him and was MVP in Serie A as Inter won the title. Conte knows how to get the best out of Lukaku, and if he cannot return to form under Conte, well, what manager is he going to thrive under in 2024? This is his last chance to prove he's still got what it takes to succeed at the highest level of European football. At aged 31, if his next move doesn't work, you can guarantee next summer he's heading to MLS or Saudi Arabia. Number 4, Marcus Rashford. Okay, I promise I'm not just going to pick United players. This is the last United player, but there are a lot of them, to be fair, on their last chance. Marcus Rashford, though, more so than anybody. Rashford still possesses a lot of talent, but fans have grown frustrated at how little they see that ability on a consistent basis. Last season was one of his worst yet, with just 7 goals in 31 games and constant criticism on his work ethic and role in this United team. He's been in the United first team since 2016 now, and patience is running out with fans who have seen far too much up and downs from Rashford during his time at the club. There was talk he could leave this summer, but that does look very unlikely, and it looks as if he will stay at United for at least one more season. This means this is really his last chance at Man United. Another poor season, and United fans will certainly give up on him, and the board will too, as he's earning simply too much money to be underperforming. However, a good year and a return to form will mean Rashford's United career and career in general is back on track, and he will become loved by those fans once again. It's a very big year for Marcus Rashford. Number 5, Mykhailo Mudryk. There was a tug-of-war between London rivals Arsenal and Chelsea to get the signature of exciting young winger Mykhailo Mudryk in January 2023. Despite the Ukraine international appearing to have his set on moving to Arsenal, it was top Polish Chelsea that won the race. Ever since, Mikel Arteta and Arsenal feel they've probably dodged a bullet by missing out on Mudryk. After an initial 6-month settling in period, Mudryk was expected to take that step up last season. However, the 23-year-old found himself spending more time on the bench than on the pitch due to his poor showings for Chelsea. His decision-making has been called into question by fans and pundits, while his goal tally of just 4 goals is very, very poor. Given the amount invested in him, Chelsea will keep hold of him this summer, luckily for Mudryk, as if he was bought for 30 million, you can guarantee he would already be out the door. He stays though, and Chelsea also don't appear to be signing any more left wingers, meaning it's between Mudryk and Sterling for that left wing spot. Under a new manager in Enzo Maresca and into his second full season at Chelsea, this is really Mudryk's chance to prove he was worth the money paid and can be the starting winger for Chelsea. If he has yet it's almost guaranteed he will be sold by Chelsea or loaned out, and I would be shocked if any other big club goes in for him next summer, given how bad he's been for Chelsea. Number 6, Jack Grealish. There seems to be a theme with left-wing Premier League players on their last chance, but again, I promise not everybody will be a left-winger in this video. Jack Grealish had a very frustrating season last year. The former Aston Villa man became one of the most dependable members of Pep's squad during a historic winning treble in the prior campaign. However, Pep appears to have lost some of that faith in Grealish, as Doku and Foden both moved ahead of him in the pecking order at the Etihad last season. From the 20 league games he featured in, the 28-year-old got just 4 goal contributions, and his poor performances led to him being left out of the Euro squad for England. He did have some injuries, but when fit he was still not used much by Pep last season, and with the arrival of Savio, that is another player who Grealish will have to compete with on the wings at Manchester City. With City starting to go through a bit of a rebuild and changing of the guard, as the likes of Edison, De Bruyne and Bernardo are very likely to depart either this summer or next year, Grealish could join them in the exit door and risks wasting his prime years on the bench at Manchester City. That being said, there is of course a very good chance he gets back into the City team. He has already proven to Pep Guardiola that he can be a key player for Manchester City. It's now just about Grealish applying himself and trying to get back into Pep's good books. If he cannot, well, it's more than likely his Manchester City career will be over and next summer he will be sold. Number 7, Randal Kolo Muani. The Parisians spent big to bring in Kolo Muani last summer, presumably to keep Kylian Mbappe, his strike partner of France, happy. But a move made out of appeasement now looks like a true waste of money. Kolo Muani last season was way down the pecking order in Paris and scored just 9 goals in his first campaign for PSG. Given how trigger-happy PSG are, we all know they will sign a new, flashy attacker at every chance they get, so Muani's future at PSG is uncertain if he doesn't perform this season. Mbappe has now left, and at the time of recording, it seems likely the Osimhen deal will not go through. This means Kolo Muani will very likely be the striker for PSG next season, and will see plenty of minutes on the pitch. With Mbappe gone, somebody in the PSG frontline has to step up, and given how much PSG paid for him, they're going to expect it to be Kolo Muani. He proved at the Euros for France that he can be a good player on the big stage, but now is his chance for PSG. If he has another disappointing campaign, you can guarantee PSG will sign a big name attacker to replace him next summer or even in January, and Muani will be either sold or sat on the bench at PSG. This is his chance now to prove himself as the main man in the PSG attack, and if he can't do so, yeah, he's not making it at PSG, quite frankly. Number 8, Darwin Nunez. One of the most polarising players in the league, Nunez has earned a reputation for fluffing big chances. He arrived in Liverpool in 2022 with a massive price tag and even greater expectations. He was swiftly billed in a race between him and Haaland for the Golden Boot, whereas in reality Nunez got nowhere near Haaland. While the Man City striker smashed the Premier League goal scoring record, Nunez was in and out of the Liverpool side and better known for the chances he missed than the ones he scored. Last season was an improvement as the Uruguayan started to find the net with more regularity, but he still provided some signature misses, and particularly in the second half of the season. By April, Nunez Nunez had effectively fallen out of the starting 11 for good, watching from the bench for long stretches. And luckily for him, I guess, Klopp is gone, meaning this season is one of opportunity for him. Nunez is no longer a raw youngster. He has played 2 full seasons of Premier League football, and at nearly 25 is approaching what should really be considered prime age of a striker. So there really can be no excuses for him this season. For all his talent, Nunez hasn't delivered what was expected in a Liverpool shirt, and with Arne Slot now in charge, this could be a blessing or the nail in the coffin for his Liverpool career. He could slot into his system, you like what I did there, very nicely, and become a star for Liverpool, or under the new manager who didn't want him, wasn't the manager who bought him, doesn't suit Slot's system, and ultimately becomes a squad player. In his 3rd year at Liverpool, if this one doesn't go well, Liverpool might just accept they got this one wrong and let him go next summer. So Nunez has to prove himself as the main man for Liverpool this season. Number 9, Tammy Abraham. Another striker who has a big season ahead of him for the sake of his career is Tammy Abraham. Once viewed as Chelsea's future number 9, Abraham rather harshly was sold by Chelsea to Roma, and he started off pretty well in Serie A. However, injuries have derailed his Roma career, with a major injury meaning he made just 8 appearances last season, and quite frankly, did not look as sharp as he once was in those 8 games. For that reason, Roma are willing to sell him, and as of recording, I have no idea where his future lies. He could stay at Roma or go to another side. Either way, this is a big season for him. As aged 26 now, Tammy isn't really young and is approaching his prime, but is in danger of not becoming the great striker he could have been. He needs this next season to go well and get back on track both performance-wise, but also just get back on the pitch as a fit starting striker for a whole season. If he cannot do this, well then I'm afraid to say we've probably seen the best of Tammy Abraham as a footballer. Hey everyone, so whilst editing this video, I realised that my number 10 is not really relevant anymore. So basically it was going to be Pedro Neto from Wolves. Basically I was going to say him on the basis of, oh okay, he's staying at Wolves this season because it seemed like no team was going for him. So he's going to stay at Wolves, he's going to have to prove his fitness this season. If he has another injury hit season, then he's not going to get a big move. If he has a good season, then he'll get a big move. But of course he has got a big move and he has left Wolves and gone to Chelsea, which, by the way, just speaking on that, because I don't think I've probably spoken about that deal. As a Chelsea fan, absolutely love that deal. Absolutely love that deal. Really, really cool signing. We definitely need another winger. I guess this one also kind of affects the Mudryk one I was saying, but not really. Still a make or break season for Mudryk. But yeah, as a Chelsea fan, I'm buzzing about that signing. Somebody who's also not just a kid. He is actually fairly proven. I am a little bit concerned about that injury record though, but we'll see how he does. Hopefully he can do well for us. But yeah, I'm just going to remove his part and we're going to skip ahead to number 11. So let's get back into the video guys, and I hope you do enjoy. Number 11, Federico Chiesa. From one injury hit winger to another, Chiesa and Neto are actually very similar players. Both electric wingers on their day when on the pitch, but again, the problem, when on the pitch. Chiesa has been hit by big injuries which have meant his trajectory, which seemed at one point like he was destined to be one of the best wingers in the world, has gone off course. His time at Juventus looks like it might be coming to an end, as Juve are looking to offload him this summer. Again, as of recording, I do not know where his future is. One thing I can tell you though, is this is the biggest season of Chiesa's life. Let's say he makes that move to wherever it may be. I'm assuming it would be a fairly high level club, as he's still got a pretty decent reputation. his new club is a chance for new beginnings and a fresh start, age 26, as he enters his prime to hopefully get those injury issues behind him and rediscover his best form. That could definitely happen, or he might just be the Chiesa we've become used to seeing the last couple of years, and ultimately no top club will come near him again after this season. If he stays at Juve, then it's an even bigger make or break season for Chiesa. He has 1 year left on his contract, so that last year is basically a chance for him to prove to clubs he's fit and firing again. And if he does this, then Juventus will definitely offer him a new contract, and loads of other top clubs across Europe will give him a contract on a free transfer, meaning he would have so many options at his disposal. However, another poor season at Juventus, they're not offering him a new deal, and most top clubs would be pull off him, and that would pretty much be his career at the elite level clubs over. So, wherever Chiesa goes this summer, it's a make or break season for the Italian. Number 12, Dejan Kulusevski. From a Juventus winger to an ex-Juventus winger, Dejan Kulusevski also has a big season ahead of him. After a great initial start to life at Spurs, Kulusevski's career at Spurs has slowly declined. Last season was a season that started with optimism for him, as he did very well early on under Postecoglou's new attacking system. However, as Spurs started to crumble following their great start to the season, Kulusevski also crumbled, and while he wasn't by no means awful last season, he wasn't great. Almost every attacker under Postecoglou saw a good return in their numbers last season, except Kulusevski, whose 12 goal contributions were worse than Brennan Johnson, Son Heung-min, James Maddison, who was injured for half the season, and even Richarlison got more goal contributions than Kulusevski, meaning he was pretty much the weak spot in that attack. For a player with so much ability, that's not really good enough, and he's been tried at right winger or number 10 in the Ange system, and he's not really been able to settle down either spot. After a pretty mediocre season under Ange, he now has a big task on his hands, as Spurs are looking at signing another attacker to compete with him, so he needs to step up this season and show Postecoglou that he is ready to be a key player for this Spurs side. Otherwise, I wouldn't be shocked if, by the end of the season, he's just a rotational option, or he's sold next summer after another underwhelming campaign. Number 13, we have Ivan Toney. Ivan Toney has made little secret of his desire to test himself at the highest level. However, summer signing an anticipated striker replacement, Igor Thiago has suffered a meniscus injury, meaning Toney probably won't be allowed to leave Brentford. As of recording, it does appear he probably will be staying at Brentford, and that means he's basically got 1 year to get himself into the shop window. With 1 year left on his Brentford deal, Toney must prove this season, if he stays at Brentford, that he is truly a top Premier League striker. When he came back from his betting ban last season, he was okay, but by no means what he was prior to the ban. Now, this season, he has a chance to prove he hasn't lost a step, and if he has a fantastic season this year, I can guarantee you almost every club in Europe will be trying to sign him on a free transfer come next summer. However, if he fails this season and has another underwhelming year similar to his end last season, at his age, top clubs may be put off signing him, and if they do, it'll probably be just as a rotational option. Therefore, this season, assuming Toney stays at Brentford, is a massive year which will determine his next club and really the direction of his footballing career. 14, we have Nicolo Zaniolo. Zaniolo has become somewhat of a journeyman, and yet he's still just 25 years old. was seen as one of the most exciting prospects in Europe when breaking through with Roma between 2018 and 2023, and he won the Conference League along the way. Injuries hurt him, however, and Zaniolo joined Galatasaray from Roma in 2023, making a fast start to life, scoring 5 goals in 10 Super League matches. However, his form started to dip, and he was loaned out to Aston Villa after his spell in Galatasaray stagnated. The 25-year-old never found his best form in England, scoring just 3 goals in 39 appearances, and with his loan at Villa over, Zaniolo has now signed for Europa League winners Atalanta on a loan for the upcoming season, with a mandatory buy option if he performs well. Atalanta does seem to be the best option for him, as players such as Scamacca, Lukman, even Zappacosta and Kolasinac have resurrected their careers somewhat, under the guidance of one of the best coaches in the world, Gasperini. Zaniolo will hope he can have the same impact on his career, and this is probably his best option. It's a good loan, and he can stay permanently playing Champions League football under a great coach, and we've seen Atalanta are more than willing to sell players if they do really well. So if he performs well at Atalanta, he might find a route back to Europe's elite clubs again. However, a bad loan spell and he returns to Galatasaray after failed loan spells in England and Italy. I'm not too sure many clubs would take a gamble on him again, and his career at the highest level could be all but over at the age of just 25. Let's hope for his sake he can find himself again at Atalanta. Okay, and the last player we have, number 15, is Joao Felix. Finally, a fairly obvious one to end. Joao Felix must perform this season. After falling out of favour at Atletico, he has gone on 2 loan spells to find his feet again, which both have not worked at Barcelona and Chelsea. It seems almost guaranteed he's leaving Atletico this summer, either on another loan or permanently. And again, as I'm recording, nothing has been agreed. Wherever he goes though, particularly if it's another loan, this is a major move and a major season for him. He's underwhelmed for too long, and he needs to get his career back on track, or else he's going to quickly become, well, quite frankly, like Zaniolo is right now. No offence, Zaniolo. I don't think many elite level clubs are going to go in for him anymore, and that means he's probably going to have to drop down his slight level, and if he can't perform at a club like that, well, that's basically him done then. He is such a good player, with so much talent, but at the end of the day, he needs to get back to playing good again. It's been quite a while since we've seen Felix perform at his optimal level, and if he goes and has another season of poor performances of the 3rd year, you can argue 4th year in a row, I think most teams will give up on this guy, and we won't really see too much of him, and he probably won't be given many opportunities to reignite his career after this season. So there we go. Those were 15 players who have big make or break seasons coming up this year. If I had to pick one who has the most important season of them all, that's tough. I would say, you know what, I would actually say Mykhailo Mudryk. I think this is a chance for him he's going to get plenty of minutes. If he can perform, then he will stay at Chelsea and will be their starting left winger. If he does not, I can pretty much guarantee he's going to be sold or loaned out or somewhere. And again, most top clubs are not going to touch him, so this is a big opportunity for him this season, and he needs to perform. And I hope he does, as a Chelsea fan. But let me know in the comments below if you agree or disagree with those picks. If you have enjoyed this video, please leave a like, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in another video. Peace.